So welcome to this season of creation prayer. And we gather during the season of creation, which began September 1st and ends on October 4th, the feast of St. Francis of Assisi. This year's theme is to hope and act with creation. And its symbol is the first fruits of hope, taken from the letter of Paul to the Romans. This reading from Romans reminds us that our actions are the first fruits of hope, a sign of the Spirit working among us. And just a few comments to help us move through this prayer reflectively and smoothly. As we said, everyone's invited to stay muted until the end of the prayer. And when we have a little bit of sharing at the end, you can unmute yourselves. And feel free to keep your video off, especially if that makes it more prayerful for you, if this time will be more prayerful for you without the video. This next half hour or so is an invitation, an opportunity for each one of us to just be. There's no need to speak out loud or share your thoughts. It's an invitation to be in the presence of love. And it's an invitation to be alone and yet together, with the intention that we become more aware of gifts we all possess. Gifts of imagination, creativity, and power. And why I've taken this theme of us coming to a deeper understanding of our imagination, creativity, and power as gifts is that Pope Francis in Laudato Si, and especially in Laudate Deum, is inviting us to use these gifts more wisely. So hopefully, in the periods of silence, we'll have 3 periods of silence, maybe 2 minutes each. If you have the pen and pencil crayons, fine. If not, just sit and be and breathe, even if no thoughts seem to come up. But what we are inviting is for the Spirit to open us up to our powers, our imagination, our creativity, and pray for that gift, that grace, to use them wisely. So, in thinking about this prayer, I became very clear, or became very conscious, that the spiral that reconnects really is a great model to pray over and reflect on when we think about creativity, power, and imagination. So I just want to take a moment to explain this. And hopefully all of us in this prayer will somehow see how it might empower us to hope and act in creation. So I'm going to share my screen and bring up the image. And hopefully everyone can see it. And as you can see on this screen, that there are 4 movements or 4 phases in the spiral that reconnects: gratitude, honoring our pain, seeing with new eyes, going forth. Joanna Macy worked closely over many years with people who suffered from war, violence, and ecological destruction. And the spiral that reconnects was born from her own and others' experience. So hopefully our prayer time together this evening will allow us to go deeper into these stages of the spiral that reconnects, so that they might move and flow through us and awaken our own imagination, creativity, and power, so that we can go forth to be, to love, to work together for the healing of the world and others, and ourselves. So we begin our prayer this evening with Jan Novotka's song, Earth Community, which calls us to walk together reverently, consciously, compassionately as one Earth community.
Consciously, compassionately, I want to walk, I want to live within the earth community. Reverently, consciously, compassionately, I want to walk, I want to live within the earth community. Reverently, consciously, compassionately, I want to walk, I want to live within the earth community. Reverently, consciously, compassionately, I want to walk, I want to live within the earth community. Reverently, consciously, compassionately, I want to walk, I want to live within the earth community.
As we reflect on the 2024 season of creation theme, to hope and act with creation, with its symbol, the first fruits of hope, may we become more aware of and use wisely our personal and communal power, imagination, and creativity. Hope and act with creation, so that we and our children and future generations may live reverently, consciously, and compassionately in a flourishing Earth community.
The work of Joanna Macy and the books she co-authored, Active Hope, Coming to Life, and The Spiral That Reconnects, speak to hope and power. The 4 phases of the spiral that reconnects: giving gratitude, honoring pain, seeing with new eyes, and going forth, offer a roadmap, inviting us to stop, experience, and connect with these areas in ourselves so that we may go forth in hope, choosing life. So I invite us for the next maybe minute or two to reflect on those times and to name those times for yourself in your heart, where in your life you give gratitude, honor pain. Maybe it's your own personal pain, your family's pain, pain for the world. And also to reflect on, how do you see with new eyes? What does that phrase mean for you? What helps you to see with new eyes? And go forth. So just take a moment to reflect on these four movements: gratitude, honoring, seeing with new eyes, and going forth. And maybe you just take one of them to reflect on now, just to see how you can become more aware of that movement in your life. See which one draws you. And if you wish to draw or write a phrase, just do it. If not, just breathe in and out and enjoy this time to just be in the presence of love.
Joanna Macy speaks of shared power, a power with, not a power over, a power of emergence and synergy that comes from the courage and willingness to explore new ground and listen to others, to open a creative space from which new possibilities can emerge. Power with contains hidden depths, power of inner strengths, power arising out of cooperation with others, subtle power of small steps, energizing power of an inspiring vision. And now we invite you to more quiet reflection to answer these three open-ended statements. I give myself power when I feel empowered by, I am empowered when,
This reading is from Pope Francis's 2024 message for World Day of Prayer for Creation. To hope and act with creation, then, means above all to join forces and to walk together with all men and women of goodwill. In this way, we can help to rethink, among other things, the question of human power, its meaning, and its limits. Our power has frenetically increased in a few decades. We have made impressive and awesome technological advances, yet we have not realized that at the same time, we have turned into highly dangerous beings, capable of threatening the lives of many beings and our own survival.
Unchecked power creates monsters and then turns against us. Today, there is an urgent need to set ethical limits on the development of artificial intelligence, since its capacity for calculation and simulation could be used for domination over humanity and nature, instead of being harnessed for the service of peace and integral development. And so now let us take a moment to raise up in our hearts an intention, a phrase in the readings, or a prayer that surfaced to inspire and strengthen us to hope and act with creation. Write it in the chat or on your paper to share at the end of this prayer.
So we'll have an opportunity after this closing prayer to share a phrase, a thought, a sentence or two that surfaced, and the conversation will be after that. But we'll just share briefly after this blessing prayer. So Alri and I will say it twice. First time, or I'll say it first time and second time. But for both times that we say it, I know we can't see each other, everyone, on this, but imagine that you can see everyone's face on the screen now, and hold up one hand or two hands as if you're blessing everyone on this prayer, blessing the people in your lives, your family, friends, colleagues, extending out to those here in our country and beyond, to other nations. But it is a season of creation. So be conscious as we send this blessing. We are one with all creation. So we're sending the blessing out to all humans, to other than humans, to the air, the ocean, the water, the fire. So extend your hand in blessing as we pray. Hear me, 4/4 of the world. A relative I am. Give me the strength to walk the soft earth, a relative to all that is. Give me the eyes to see and the strength to understand that I may be like you. With your power, only can I face the winds.
Hear us, 4 corners of the world, the relatives we are. Give us the strength to walk the soft earth, relatives to all that is. Give us the eyes to see and the strength to understand that we may be like you. With your power only can we face the winds. Amen.
So we're still in this time of formal prayer, and we'll spend some time, maybe 5 minutes, just to see if there is anyone who wants to share something that came up in the reflection time, or maybe there was something in the slides, the pictures. But again, what we're praying is that during the season of creation, we might truly enter into knowing more deeply our creativity, imagination, and power. And if you'd rather write it in the chat, feel free to write it in the chat. If you know how to use the raise your hand button, please do. If not, I think I can see everyone on the screen. Anyone want to share a word, phrase, image, symbol, or just a brief thought?
Carol, I'll try to read a prayer that I got this book. Okay. Give me a second. Let me turn the light on so I can see. I got it at a free book fair the other day. And I was going to give it to somebody, but I said, let me read some of it myself. So sitting here, I was going through it, and it is called At the End of the Day. I'm not sure who wrote it, but I'm at Earth. It starts out, it's a little lengthy, so I hope that doesn't matter. Listen to the air. You can hear it, feel it, smell it, taste it. Wania Waken, might be saying that wrong, the holy air, which renews all by its breath. Wania Waken, spirit, life, breath, renewal. It means all that. We sit together, don't touch, but something is there. We feel it between us as a presence. A good way to start thinking about nature, talk about it. Rather, talk to it. Talk to the rivers, to the lakes, to the winds, as to our relatives. And that author, it says, is John Lame Deer, D-E-E-R.
Thank you.
I thought that was nice.
Thank you, Angela, for sharing. Thank you.
And I did, and I could put it in the chat, I did write a prayer. I don't want to monopolize everything, but what I get out of it, and it's beautiful being here tonight and thinking of nature. And I was enjoying my newfound hornet nest on my red maple tree that I noticed yesterday. I am safe, but my little prayer says, Lord, Let me feel the blessed earth beneath my feet every waking moment, and I will give praise for all the glory you have given us.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So I'll open this up. I'll end the formal prayer in a second, because I do want to have some opportunity for for a back and forth, more informal conversation. But is there anything else that anyone wants to lift up in prayer?
I just wanted to share that I related to the 4 stages of Joanna Macy: the gratitude, honoring our pain, and then seeing with new eyes. And I've shared some of this with Carol already, that when I came back from vacation in Oregon, where everything was so beautiful and 70-degree weather and up in the mountains with snow-capped mountains and mountain goats and streams and everything. And then I came back to New York and I felt so closed in in this urban environment and no trees. And I mean, it's not like there are no trees, but it just felt, here I am in this city of concrete and with 90-degree weather going up to 100. And it really felt so painful because I thought of India, that was having days and days of 120-degree weather. I just thought, we don't know what we're going towards with all of this global warming and not caring for the earth.
Mm.
So out of that pain, the new eyes that I felt I got from that was knowing that community is so important. And, Carol was one of those people that I spoke to about this, and, was part of this community relationship that we hold one another up with that community and our commitments.
Mhm.
So thank you. I feel very, very grateful for that.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you. And this might be a good point where I'm going to say we're ending our formal prayer. What I forgot to say in the beginning, which I'll say now, is this opportunity for prayer is sponsored by the Metro New York Catholic Climate Movement Group. Several of its members are on in this prayer now, and Nancy is our chapter leader. And the Sisters of Charity of St. Elizabeth, Sisters of Charity of New Jersey, and several of them are on here, and Sisters of Charity of New York. So we're 3 groups that are really happy that we can provide this opportunity to come together and pray. And so because I said I wanted to have a prayer where people felt free to just come, be quiet, pray, and then leave if they want. So if anyone feels they want to leave, please feel free. But we will probably stay for a while for anyone who wants to have a conversation. And Nancy, you kind of opened it up because I don't know if people have any questions or had any insights on that spiral that reconnects. But it's interesting when I have done some work on this in groups and worked with even just a little bit with some of the college students. One of the things is people find it very hard to stay in that honoring our pain. And what we're being told today is that's a really important part of, with all that's going on, how important it is to honor it. And Nancy, thank you for bringing up how important community is. Thank you. Any other comments, thoughts, insights?
With that question, feeling empowered. I've been reading and listening to Elizabeth Johnson, and her whole way of asking us to reflect and to really look at creatures and to see how creatures praise God. And in doing that, to sense more about who God is. I think it's powerful. And at one point, she speaks of creation as if it's a song. And when a singer produces a song, the song is there as long as the singer sings it. And that's what you see God doing. That every moment, everything is being created anew and held into existence by a song. And she just she gives us images that help us to really be quiet and take in, I think, the meaning of God and God's love. And she certainly empowers me.
Thank you. Thank you, Albert. Roberta, you have your hand raised. I think Mary Kay was also trying to speak, but okay.
One of the sisters here would like to speak.
Okay, and then Mary Kay after that. Okay, thank you. Hello.
This is Sister Anita.
Hi, Sister Anita.
Hi, everybody. I just have a question, really. I noticed in the reading something about the spiraling, and then Sister Nancy just mentioned it, and you too, I believe, spiraling. I just don't understand what that is. Could you explain that a little bit?
Mhm.
Thank you.
And anyone else can be free to also explain. But when we think of a spiral, and many things in creation have the shape of a spiral, and think of a conch shell goes in a spiral. Also, when you think of the universe and some of the way the galaxies are. So I think the idea that Joanna Macy talks about is in these three movements, it just doesn't end. You go deeper. So it's not a circle where you keep on going round and round and round. But as you go through each stage, you're going to go through them a little bit deeper and at different times in your life. Yeah, and at different times of your life, you're also maybe focusing on one more than the other. But yeah, and I think I think it's the Chinese healing medicine philosophy is energy and healing. It's important to keep moving. That you need to keep energy moving because when it gets stuck, that's when things can get very difficult. So that whole idea of that spiral that we had is just, go through those phases and keep moving, flowing through. I don't know if that helps.
Thank you. It does very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Mary Kay.
My question is, I'm not sure I quite understand what it means, honoring our pain.
Mhm.
That's a new expression for me.
Mhm.
Can you explain in a few sentences?
I can, and one of the
Or do I need to read a book?
No, but they're definitely what I will read that I meant to read in the introduction, because when I went back and looked over Joanna Macy's book, Active Hope, I said, aha. She talks more in this about the how important the spiral is. But I think what is more relevant to your question is there's another book. Whoops, you can't see it when I have my my butterfly. When I'm sharing my butterfly, you can't see me holding my book up. But Joanna Macy, again, her books are great, and she has a lot of practices in them because she does a lot of group work. But if we're thinking about honoring our pain, there's different parts of it. So part of what comes from honoring our pain. Actually, I think it's in the Active Hope one. Let me just go to this. I'm just going to read the headings. Is part of honoring our pain is, if I can find it here.
Acknowledging it first.
Hmm. Yeah, I thought there was a real easy thing, but it's it is the pain that's within us and very personal. And she talks about some of the negative thoughts that many of us can have, but then how she talks about how important it is then to about how we need to have a different view of self, that we need to have a wider view of self, that we have to move beyond what it means for us to see ourselves just as individuals, that as we come to see ourselves as very interconnected, that we begin to realize that in honoring our pain, that we also, the pain that others are having, that the other than humans are having, that it's very connected, that so it goes deep into the work. So I'll look so that I can give a more better example with this, but that's a good thing, because the honoring the pain thing is not an easy thing. And I think I said the students found that one of the movements that's very hard. And I think in our life, what do we do? Even psychologically, we bury the pain, we dump it on others, we get it out. It's very hard for us to live with the pain and live through it. But I will, part of what she talks here, I think, is the fear of pain, the fear of despair, the distrust of our own intelligence. These are some of the things that she deals with when she's talking about the pain. Okay, so with that, let me just stop there. And I'm sorry I'm not being as clear as I might be.
Carol, Brian Massengale speaks of lamenting as a holy act.
Yes.
And it's as if you really take time to be with the things that make you deeply sad. I think of the extinction of species, for example, that somehow or other it brings you to understand it more, to recognize also a presence with you in it. And perhaps to find not solutions, but some kind of answers.
Yeah, he's
not reasonable answers necessarily.
Yeah, he's very strong, especially in his LCWR presentation, which anyone who goes to LCWR website and looks at the this past summer assembly, his presentation, he's very clear on how important it is that the lamentation goes with the as part of even moving forward in the celebration of life, that we can't look at it separate. It has to be together. Yes. Any other questions or any other insights that you had? How many of you have heard of the spiral that reconnects? Or is it a concept that's kind of hard to grasp? I was just wondering.
We can answer.
I think of a spiral, it's when a discus thrower moves and moves and moves and then lets go. In the presentation, the Thanksgiving goes into a realization of something, perhaps a pain that has not yet been articulated, that needs to be incorporated and then moved forward and out to let go of it. For me, the examples of Jesus on the road to Calvary, and so many instances of Mary, the mother of the Lord, in her own wonderments. These are examples of people that incorporated these afflictions, hopefully lamented in their human natures, no, the ability to be able to lament better.
Mhm.
Sounds crazy in a way, but I think that we do need to take a look at how to lament better, and to get to the core of the need, the grace need that perhaps afflicts us. Perhaps we haven't let go, like the discus, let go of it so that we can receive again.
John, what a great, well, thank you for that reflection. And what a great image of the discus thrower, because it's very much in my mind because I did watch that part of the Olympics.
Okay.
My brother-in-law was an Olympian and on the decathlon. So I'm very much into those different sports. And didn't you, with the discus, they go around and around and around to build up the power. But that importance of going around and around to build up the power, but the letting the go. And how, but you just said sometimes we have to let go then in order to receive. Thank you for that image. Thank you.
Very good.
So I think what I will do is in a minute, I'll read as a closing, Joanna Macy's description of active hope. But I just want to give anyone else the opportunity. Sometimes you might say, oh, the thought's not really relevant, but it can add to the wisdom of the group. Because again, what we're doing here by our focusing certainly individually as a person, but we're doing it as a group. We're growing our group consciousness. So I know I'm going to come away personally, but also I think we as a group, we're coming away with deeper insights that we'll bring out into the world. And hopefully one of those insights, but also practices will be how might we enter more deeply into the belief that our imagination, creativity, and power, it's there within us, and open it up, throw it out in order for it to be opened up and be received even more into the world and by ourselves. So any other comments?
Well, I was going to say that I think if we stay in the pain, and many of us feel pain because we are empathetic and compassionate with other people, other communities. If we stay in the pain, then it often can lead to despair and depression and to inaction. And that one kind of healthy way to not stay there is to move out. As John is saying, release that pain, acknowledge it, release it, lament it, and move forward with action. And, you know, I listened to Elizabeth Johnson also, and she asked the whole group, what do you think we can do? And like none of us came up with a concrete kind of thing about what can we do about the extinction of animals. And I just kind of felt bad that we didn't come up with concrete things that we can do. Yeah.
Well, we can sit with it and maybe something will come. So
Yeah.
let me read this, and then we'll leave this for our reflection. So I want to certainly thank our three sponsoring groups. Certainly thank you for joining us. So this is called Trusting the Spiral, this chapter, and this is what she has on the first page. Active hope is not wishful thinking. Active hope is not waiting to be rescued by the Lone Ranger or by some savior. Active hope is waking up to the beauty of life on whose behalf we can act. We belong to this world. The web of life is calling us forth at this time. We've come a long way and are here to play our part. With active hope, we realize that there are adventures in store, strengths to discover, and comrades to link arms with. Active hope is a readiness to engage. Active hope is a readiness to discover the strengths in ourselves and in others. A readiness to discover the reasons for hope and the occasions for love. A readiness to discover the strength and the size of our hearts, our quickness of mind, our steadiness of purpose, our own authority, our love for life, the liveliness of our curiosity, the unsuspected deep well of patience and diligence, the keenness of our senses, and our capacity to lead. And this is the last line. None of these can be discovered in an armchair or without risk. None of these can be discovered in an armchair or without risk. So that is part of life. And I thought I'd end with that because, again, the season of creation, to hope and act with creation. We do not do it alone. We do it with the grace of God. We do it in community, and that's what our faith tells us, that we are in community with all creation. So thank you. I'm going to stop the recording, but any last